Flynn is just very artistic. Bennett is competitive and definitely more athletic.
They're obviously both fighters.
I first noticed on Flynn, it was Halloween weekend of 2020, and I noticed he was having a lot of bruising on his legs. And I noticed that he had petechiae all over his stomach and his back.
Since she's the nurse and I'm the CPA accountant, I didn't really know what the symptoms were. She said, I think it's leukemia.
The pediatrician sent him right over to get blood work done.
Lindsay called me just sobbing on the phone, and as soon as I picked up the phone and heard her doing that, I knew that it was positive. We were just told to go down to Sinai to the oncology unit and pack our bags because we may be there for a while.
He started on treatment pretty quickly. He was diagnosed with what we call standard risk, which is the right age, the right blood cell type, the right blood cell number. He had an excellent prognosis, over 90% cure rate, and so got started right away and overall tolerated treatment fairly well. He had a few bumps along the way, but overall he did really well.
One of the first things Bennett asked me was, can I get this? And I told him no, because that would be crazy. That was really hard to then, 9 months later, tell him what was happening to him.
All of a sudden, Lindsay called over the weekend and said, hey, Bennett is just not acting right.
She picked up his shirt and he had the petechiae all over him, which was a symptom that we recognized from Flynn.
My immediate reaction was, oh my God, this can't be happening again. Why are his gums bleeding?
And when the labs came back, I remember I refreshed and I saw the labs pop up on the computer and I thought, there's no way. There's no way there's a mix-up. These are someone else's labs. There's no way that this child also has leukemia.
Dr. Bammy walked into the room and she pulled her mask down and I knew she was she was crying.
It was the worst news I've ever had to deliver to this day.
It's a less than 1% chance brothers would have the same type of leukemia. We were going to have to go through this with our second child. It was heartbreaking.
When we talk about risk, Flynn came in as what we call standard risk, and Bennett came in as high risk because his white blood cell count was higher. So while the chemo was mostly the same, there are a few differences. Bennett had a lot more admissions into the hospital for planned chemotherapy, and Flynn did not.
They were spending every single week here, whether it was for both brothers or for one or multiple appointments for one kid. With the art, it really provides a means to have to figure something out, which uses a part of your brain that helps to release all of the difficult thoughts that they're thinking about. And then we're able to go back and forth with those while they're tinkering.
Flynn finished treatment a year ago. Bennett finished treatment just a couple months ago.
They're strong boys, ready to get stronger. Sinai's just been amazing from the start to the finish.
Physically and emotionally just gave me this huge bear hug and told me, we're gonna do this, we're gonna fight this. And we did, and we beat it.
I'm just forever grateful for Sinai.
Seeing them out and doing all the things that they love, this is the goal. This is why we get into this job. It's not for acknowledgement, it's not for pats on the back, it's to see these children grow up and live the best life that they can live.
Sinai's been such a big part of not only my life, but my family's life. I had a beautiful pregnancy, delivered a beautiful baby girl, and had a beautiful 30 days. And then one morning, I went in to get her, and her breathing just didn't sound right. We were in Sinai for 3.5 months because they could not figure out what was wrong with her. We ran out of money and insurance. I said, teach me how to take care of her, and I guess we'll have to go home. There was still a small bill remaining, which Sinai Hospital wrote off, and I promised then I would come back and work it off, and I think I've done it.
Ronnie started as a volunteer in what was then the Sinai Auxiliary. She later became president of the auxiliary and joined the Sinai Board of Directors. Then she rose to be the chair of Sinai Hospital. Ronnie was a founding member of the LifeBridge Health Board of Directors and became the first woman to chair the LifeBridge Health Board in 2007.
After the loss of her husband, Bob, she let us know she wanted to do something meaningful to help doctors communicate in a more compassionate way with family members and patients at the end of their life. Ronnie pulled together a group of people, including some clinicians, and we created the Robert Footlick Palliative Care Lecture.
She, along with Lynn Aveshouse, started the LifeBridge Health Leadership Society to identify and engage the next generation of leaders across LifeBridge Health.
I really do feel like I grew up at Sinai. I did have the tracheostomy for 5.5 years. LifeBridge has really touched every aspect of our lives, whether that is my mother's cancer diagnosis, my cancer diagnosis, orthopedic issues. My children were born at Sinai. Sinai and LifeBridge has taken us every step of the way, and so there's somewhere that we feel really connected to, it would be Sinai.
We're so pleased Leslie is the co-chair of tonight's gala with her husband Joe. What a meaningful story of a lifetime of service that Leslie and her mother have teamed up to support the hospital that took care of Leslie's intensive medical needs during the first few years of her life.
At one point years ago, I chaired a committee where we did a project with Art with the Heart, and there is a mosaic in the lobby of the hospital. Every time I walk in, I see it, and I know that that will be a continuance of our legacy.
So I feel very blessed and grateful, and that's why they can't get rid of me. It's been over 45 years that I've been volunteering there in one form or another.
I was pretty shy growing up, and the first time that I got drunk at a party, it allowed me to be the person that I was too shy to be. I drank alcoholically immediately because I got my first DUI 4 months later.
I started using around 16, ended up my first rehab at 17.
I figured I have a drinking problem, but maybe I can be okay if I only do drugs, because I've never been physically dependent on drugs. 6 years after that thought is when I showed up at Right Turn as what my counselor called an intravenous drug user.
In 2010, unfortunately, I had an overdose on multiple substances. I actually ended up here at Carroll Hospital. Was sent to rehab by a social worker, and I have been sober since.
4 days into going through withdrawal, I was not able to get any fluid down. Opiate withdrawal is not necessarily going to kill you, but not being able to take fluids is. So as a precaution, I was sent to the hospital.
Hey Jimmy, my name's Margie. I'm one of the peer recovery coaches here. Do you know what a peer recovery coach is? So a peer recovery coach is a person in long-term recovery. We offer support to other people and try to advocate for them and with them. Just offer support.
Margie was able to be there in a moment and give me the support and encouragement that I needed, that provided me the means to continue on a path towards life. When I met the Zumbrun family, they were opening the Hoffa House and they needed somebody to be their first house leader.
The Hoffa Foundation is an organization that started in August of 2019 when my younger brother Jimmy passed away on a Sunday at the young age of 35. He passed away, overdosed, and of course had fentanyl in his system. We just knew that we wanted to create a home, a place that would be my brother's home. Sorry.
I did not want to live in sober living anymore, but something kind of kept me going because I told Miss Connie personally that I would help this out for the first year.
Thankfully, Jimmy Gast was able to navigate through the resources and end up in the hands of Carroll Hospital and Margie and the team to put him in this situation today.
It's important to remember that when you're in recovery. It's one day at a time.
We just want to help people. We don't want people to feel the way we did. It makes me emotional when I talk about Jimmy. Some people don't get it, but Jimmy got it and is using his recovery for good.
Yeah, what would I say to the peers? Hang in there. You don't know which person's going to turn around and be able to help others later. And you might see the same person again and again, but you never know which one's going to actually succeed. The effect changing one life can have downstream is immense.
It's pretty much a miracle because you never know where life is going to take you. I'm very, very blessed to be able to do this and help other people. It's kind of amazing.